Hey, thanks for joining me. I'm Matas, the founder of BitByBit, and I'm here to welcome you. I'm also here to explain how BitByBit works, how you can use it and leverage it in your daily work. I'm also here to explain who should consider using it, right? So if you're a programmer, you're in the right place. If you're a designer, you're also in the right place. How could that be, right? How those two worlds coexist in BitByBit? Well, it's the 3D platform for coding, right? So if you want to combine coding with design in one space, right, then BitByBit is for you. We allow you to learn things by using our editors, right, to understand how things work, how to build 3D applications, parametric models, all kinds of things, and grow into becoming a self-sustained developer who can leverage these algorithms and take those algorithms later on into your own applications, websites. You can build your own tools with this platform. So basically the idea is that you start on our website, you learn by tapping into maybe something like Rete, which is the most simple one, or Blockly if you come from tools like Scratch, right? And you begin to play with algorithms and begin to understand how code works in 3D. And then what happens is that when you are sufficiently advanced, user of these editors, then you can tap into TypeScript and begin writing actual code. What happens later is that you learn those algorithms and everything, and if you, let's say, want to break away from BitByBit's editors, which are presented to you on our website, you can take BitByBit and implement it into your own websites, into your own projects, and that's mostly free because we open source the core algorithms and we allow them to be used in your own commercial projects if you choose to. So this is a big advantage, I think. This is a tool that I built for solving my own frustrations that I had with CAD packages, which were like working like silos, right? So many times you would see sort of standalone applications that you install on your computer. They work fine to make 3D models, and that's perfectly okay. The use cases for that are infinite. But if you are someone who would like to, use the kernels presented in those applications in your own projects, that becomes much more difficult, I think, in most of the software packages. So BitByBit sort of solves that. We build on top of open source packages. We open source a lot of our own technology, and when you're ready, when you grew into becoming a professional, and you want to take those parts to your own projects, well, we have runners, we have NPM packages to allow you to do that. So you have to think about BitByBit as providing you the path, to your career growth, step by step. You begin by learning, and then you advance, and then you advance more till you reach the point where you can actually use BitByBit maybe for your clients. We have also solutions for Shopify, and we're quite serious to allow our users to, profit from using BitByBit. So we touched upon the fact that BitByBit can be used by designers and programmers, or people who would like to become computational designers, knowing how to code, right, professionally. But we didn't really touch upon the fact that BitByBit is great also for children. So children can use the platform without creating accounts. We actually don't allow children to create accounts because of all kinds of personal information considerations. But what we did, we just, from the very start, opened our editors to be available for people without accounts, right? So you can open Rete, you can open Blockly, you can open Monaco editor for TypeScript without having an account, and you can use all of our open source algorithms that way. The only limitation is that you cannot really persist those projects in cloud, right? So you have to always remember to save your scripts as files to your computer. And that works great actually in classrooms. I think teacher can have an account, for example, and children can just use the editors, and they need to learn then how to download the files, how to manage the files in the file system. So if you are a STEM teacher, information technology teacher, teaching people mathematics, geometry, then BitByBit is definitely worth a try. So this naturally brings me to the next point that I want to discuss, and these are the cloud plans that we offer. We have a freemium plan. On the freemium plan, people can share unlimited number of public projects, right? So if you just want to share your project with the community, you can stay infinitely on this public plan. But if you want to upload large assets to your cloud storage, if you want to create private projects, that you don't want to share publicly, then you will probably consider our silver or gold plans. And also in those plans, we allow you to use some of the more advanced algorithms that are built on our core open source layer. And also we build ourselves a lot of 3D configurators for sort of finished 3D models, 3D tools that you can use under that subscription. So basically we are building also all kinds of 3D configurators for models that you can 3D print, laser cut, or build in other ways. And with the subscription, get an access to a variety of those configurators. So silver plans open you with a bit of a smaller pool of those configurators and algorithms, whereas gold plan opens the access to everything that we offer. So if you appreciate BitByBit, if you find it useful, if you use it yourself, maybe you even just use our open source software, then just, please subscribe. And in that way, you will thank me. And you will also support the community of people who just start out, who are learning, who are just beginning their careers. What can you build with BitByBit? This is a tricky question because BitByBit, being quite a general purpose platform, right, like a programming language, you can create all kinds of applications. BitByBit is similar. You can create, of course, just 3D models, so maybe you just need a cup model, right? You can create the cup model. If you need a table model, you can create a table model. But the strength of BitByBit is, of course, in building those parametric 3D models, the models that you don't need to model manually anymore. And also because we provide you with those game engines, you can build any kind of 3D experience as well, because you can tap into the game engine and build a game. So this is part of the freedom that you gain with BitByBit. You're allowed to, pick whatever you want to build and then try to think how best to do it. So how do the editors work? And basically the idea is that you have 3 editors that are all using the same layer of technologies underneath. If you choose Rete or Blockly or Monaco, all of them use the same algorithmic base, right? Just interacts with it through different kinds of ways. So if you choose Rete, for example, you are using these blocks that you see on the screen, right? And you connect them with wires. So block itself is a sort of algorithm that you're running. And those wires, they transmit information from one block to another. Each block takes some time to compute the result, and then you can take the output and plug it into another component, right? And in that way, you sort of build this flow from left to right of your information. And that creates a parametric model and dictate the logic of how the model needs to be constructed. And at the end, you're finished with some sort of result, usually, which you can easily change. So, this manual modeling thing that you do with tools like Blender isn't really working in BitByBit. What you actually do is you construct the rules that create your model or a program that defines the model. So when you develop those parametric scripts, you actually define the logic of 3D models, which you can then use to your advantage. You don't need to manually remodel your things that you create. You can just change some initial variable and the object will adapt. So let's say the table, for example, you can control maybe the height, the width, the length of the table. All of these things can be controlled by variables, and you don't actually need then to remodel that manually. You can just change those variables and everything will adapt. So this is the idea behind Rete. It's very simple. It's also simple because you can construct these flows that go from left to right, and that is easy to read, to understand, and to learn. So Rete also allows you to use this concept called control flow, and control flow is quite a more involved concept, but it does allow you to create, intervals, play with time, and even make some simulations like animate the camera, do all kinds of things that are more complex. So another editor that we have is called Blockly, and in Blockly you define algorithms by composing blocks together. So this is a bit different than using wires to connect your components. In Blockly you actually snap blocks together into each other, and that composition will define how algorithm works, and it works in a quite efficient and intuitive way as well. So the big difference between Rete and Blockly is that you can add a component and you will see immediately what happens with that component. When you plug the wire into the component, you will see immediately the result as well. So it's a sort of reactive programming, right? And Blockly, the scripts need to be executed like you would execute a real program, like a TypeScript program, for example. So this is why Blockly is a bit more closely related to TypeScript, whereas Rete is more intuitive. But basically, if you are someone who's familiar with Scratch and similar sort of programming approaches, then Blockly will be quite a bit easier to grasp maybe. And another, of course, editor that we have is called Monaco. And in Monaco, you just write TypeScript and you will use exactly the same code that you can use with Rete and Blockly. But then you just use text, right, to define your algorithms. You can also inspect the API. Because you're writing TypeScript, you can even take those algorithms, and incorporate them into your own professional projects that you write in VS Code or other editors out there. So depending on your level of expertise, choose the tools that work best for you. So having said all that, while Rete is indeed the most suitable for beginners and Monaco maybe for professionals, I would still advise professionals to consider Rete and Blockly, right? Depending on the use case that you're solving, you might find all of those editors useful. So when I'm starting something fresh, I always experiment in Rete myself. I build algorithms in this reactive fashion because I see the results immediately pop up on my screen. And also there's a way to write TypeScript in it, so I can experiment, I can write short scripts, see how everything works, how the logic progresses, if it's performant, where are the bottlenecks, and then at some point maybe you are indeed forced to go from Rete to just TypeScript, for example, but usually it's not even necessary, right? So another thing that you can find on our website are 3D models, and these are no standard 3D models, right? These are actually configurators that are available to our subscribers. Usually they are available only to people who subscribe to silver and gold plans. These are sort of finished standalone applications that people can use for 3D printing or laser cutting, for example. So if you have a laser cutter or 3D printer and you want to just configure something nice and manufacture, well, you can do that. We have some laptop holders, phone holders, all kinds of designs out there that you can just adjust with sliders, and you're ready then to manufacture. This is quite cool, I think. You can build even families of vases like this one seen here. So this is a Serenity swirl that I've printed out of wooden filament. So this looks really, really nice, I think. You can get those as well from these configurators. And of course, laser cutting applications also exist. We are continuing to build these configurators, and with the help of AI, we will be having more and more of those available to our subscribers. So check it out and try it. So how should you start learning bit by bit? Well, just head to our school. We have various kinds of tutorials that we post there. with level indication. So ones for the beginners are great for people who don't know how to code, for example. Advanced tutorials usually involve TypeScript and more difficult topics, right? So just head into the school, pick the tutorials that you are interested in, and start learning. All of the videos are available on our YouTube channel for free to everyone, so we don't charge you for using those courses. Another thing is that you can look into getting started guides, and there we also have a lot of information about BitByBit, how it works, how it functions, how you can create projects, create scripts, how you can share projects with the community. All of these topics are documented in the Getting Started guide, and also, of course, the documentation. So if you're more professional, like someone who knows how programming works, right? We have documentation with full API information out there on docs.bitlbybit.dev. Check it out if you are using our code base, for example, and NPM packages. So another great way to learn is to head to our public projects page. There we post a lot of projects which people can open and even edit, right? Most of those projects are freely accessible to everyone. So if you have this green indicator, then you can just access it without having any accounts. You don't need to have a silver account to open those green projects. If you want to access more difficult projects that have the indication of the gold plan or silver plan, that probably also means that we are using some more complex algorithms there. So those would be behind the subscription. But most of the projects are freely available to everyone, and also the source code is available. So you can open the editors, you can inspect the code, you can understand how it works, and that's, I guess, the best way to learn, right? By opening those community projects and understanding how they function. And of course, if you're building your own projects, I'm encouraging you to share those with the community. They can be very helpful when someone else is learning. So people just search maybe for some themes, the source code, and then they can find your project. Also, AI models that are parsing bit by bit, they learn too, and they learn from these public projects as well. So the better the repository becomes, the better advice these AI models will be able to give to the community members. So another thing is that BitByBit offers Shopify app. So if you are familiar with writing 3D applications, then you can also use 3dBits app and integrate that into your projects on the Shopify. 3dBits app allows you to share experiences that you develop in BitByBit through your product pages on Shopify, and in that way also earn money. So this is also something that can encourage you to choose BitByBit. When you grow into becoming a professional, right, you can then also start earning money through Shopify. So 3dBits app is also being used on our own crafts shop, where we sell some physical products. This is some new venture that we've started, but basically the idea is that we create with BitByBit a lot of 3D models, configurators, and all kinds of things that we think we should be making into physical products, and then we integrate them through 3dBits into the crafts shop, and we offer that to our users, fans, anyone who would like to buy those models produced. So then we just ship them to customers, and you can use this 3dBits app too on your own Shopify storefronts. BitByBit is built on all kinds of open source projects, including 3 CAD kernels called OpenCascade, Manifold, and JSCAD. Right? We use libraries like OpenCascade.js to make those CAD algorithms available on BitByBit. We write our own algorithms on top of those kernels, and we expose them then to our editors and to our packages. We also integrate game engines such as BabylonJS and ThreeJS. All of our editors are using BabylonJS. That's sort of native editor game engine, but actually our CAD algorithms can be used also in ThreeJS applications with certain tweaks in NPM packages. So you have to then, just explore how to use BitByBit with ThreeJS, and I'm there to answer any questions that you may have about that. But basically the idea is that because we use all of those open source technologies, we are also committed, to open source, and we open sourced a lot of our own code so that community can take that and progress further, right? If you want to fix some mistakes, you can also do that. And if you also are interested in how those technologies work, you can go to our GitHub and look into the algorithms that we wrote and, understand more deeply how fundamentals work. And even, to the point where you are able to go even deeper into those frameworks and game engines yourself and understand how they work, because they are open source. So whatever you are building, all of the magic that you see in BitByBit, it's because those projects exist, and I couldn't be more thankful to the communities and people who build those, maintain those, and invest their time and effort in making them as great as they are today. So if you stayed with me, you have learned quite a few things about BitByBit. I hope it's now a little bit more clear to you how you can use it. A big thing for the future of BitByBit is, of course, AI, right? I already post some things about AI, how it can generate code for you. So definitely, if you're starting out, check it. AI can assist you. So for now, only Grok AI can probably give the best advice about BitByBit, but I guarantee that soon other large language models will pick BitByBit as well, and will be able to provide you with reasonably good advice. So definitely check it out. But if you stayed with me, you learned quite a lot, I think. You will see me also in all kinds of tutorials on BitByBit. So I'm not saying goodbye, if you're still around and want to learn, we will interact. Join our Discord channel as well. I'm there. We can chat if you have some questions. There's also more community members that can answer you maybe. So just be there. And thanks for joining this introduction. And I hope to see you later in other videos. Cheers.